So we've gone over everything the new macro creator can do, and while it's great that it can do all those things, you probably have noticed that there's a couple of things it can't quite do yet. I'm going to go over all of those, starting from just the things that like the tool itself can't do, you know, with moving controls around and such, moving on to when it comes to macros, what can't the new macro creator do? And I'm going to talk in more general terms there because there's a lot of stuff that I still don't really know about macros. That people, hopefully, if there's stuff that the new macro creator can't do, please inform me, and I would love to know some extra information. But otherwise, this is a really great tool even without having these features. But all of these features that I mentioned today will be actually updated and added to the tool in the future. Just keep on the lookout for those updates in the next coming months. Probably at least by the end of the year, most of these features will be in the tool. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the stuff the tool itself can't do. The stuff like moving controls around. If you come down here, just for an example, let's actually add another control from, let's just say them as merge 46. Scroll down to center, double click that to add it. We cannot move this control out and move this control in if we move this control down. So when you move controls around, if you, for example, have this one, you can move it up and down. And when we can move this one up, the one that was above it then moves down. If we move this down, the one below it then moves up. If we are at a nest right here, you may logically think, okay, I can go down and exit this nest and move the center into this spot. If we try to move this out and we move down, we'll see nothing happens because it's the logic is different for the children of a nest like this versus the parent. If we look over here though, on the actual numbering, it is numbered the next number. So if we were to, for example, remove 1 from this, we're gonna see these two swap places, but when they're both parents. So we can make this 1, click off, and we can see center is now in the spot where angle was because the numbers were set that way. So now to put this inside of the nest, you can then add 2 to this, and it will then put that inside the nest. So there's a workaround for that if you wanted to do that. Otherwise, if you did not want to do it when it was inside of there, you could always set this to 1, and then move these back and forth, and then set this to 2, not 12, back to 2, and then it puts it back to how it was. And I don't want center, so we can just remove that. Hopefully that doesn't get in the way of your macro creation too much. The macro creator sometimes has issues when it exports images out of loader nodes. This is sort of an unknown issue as to why. It's just very occasional in some comps. The loader nodes have issues either being read as loader nodes or something else is going on behind the scenes I'm not sure of. But in those cases, sometimes just a restart of DaVinci Resolve works fine. If that ever happens, try to copy the nodes and put them into a different comp. And then I would also, if that doesn't work, try to replace the loader node entirely, and hopefully that works for you. This one is much more of a minor issue, but when you export a DRFX or a reactor atom, you may instinctively think that it should export like a zip file with it. Or when it's a DRFX, make it a DRFX file by default. Because you're exporting a DRFX, like you maybe expect that. At the moment, it only exports the folders that then you can zip up yourself and then turn into the DRFX file. Going back to building out your macro UI, if you were to reopen or create a macro that has different user controls like labels on different nodes all throughout the macro, you may have issues if you wanted to change any of the label hide numbers. The new macro creator at the moment only exports macros, and if there's a label, it'll update that label onto only the controls node. It will not look to see what node it actually belongs to and then execute it on that node. It only does it on the controls node because my brain, when I coded it, just didn't think about it. That'll be fixed probably very soon. This is just probably a temporary video. I might even cut this part out on YouTube. If you see this fresh, hi, how's it going? You see this before the update. If you were to update any of these label hide numbers, then it would export all those updated controls onto the controls node, but it would still export this control by looking at whatever tool is in this tool slot right here. And if this is not your controls node, the one that's in red whenever you press export, then you're not going to have all of your tools going to the correct place, and those tools will not update their label hide numbers if they're a label. I think other user controls will have an issue with this too, but label hide numbers number will be the most obvious. Next up, there is also stuff just with macros that the new macro creator can't do. Like I said at the beginning, it can't actually create comment. Like if you wanted to just create a comment in here so you don't have to worry about it when you export the macro, then you can't do that. You'd have to export the macro, open it up in a Fusion comp, type out your comment, and then right click the settings and save as, and then save out the settings file. You are also unable to make a lot of things header items. Like whenever you're making a macro, you can make a lot of the different things up in the header. Well, for example, if you look over at a media in node, if you look up here in the header, we actually have the clip right here. If we were to actually bring in a clip from our media pool, we're going to see it has this slider right here. Another limitation while we're talking about controls, we are unable to do a lot of different types of controls with this. I do plan on making my own sort of type of controls editor that will add controls to the macro preview and allow you to add custom controls to whatever node is selected in red. The feature that I may end up adding, since we're just talking about features for the new macro creator right now, I also plan on possibly adding a search feature for the outputs and inputs. So you can search for the node and then find that actual section of control, or so that you can find an actual section of either the inputs or outputs. So it's just a little bit easier on you. I know this can be a little bit annoying to search through and like try to find the exact thing. So I think adding that search feature will just be a lifesaver. Okay, I'm running out of things I can think of what this can't do macro-wise. I am sure there's a few things it cannot do. If you know things about macros that I do not know, if there's things that the new macro creator can't do that I have not mentioned here today, please let me know down in the comments or in the email or down in Discord. Please let me know anything that you know about macros that this thing can't do. I would love to make this the most advanced tool for macros so that any user, no matter how advanced or beginner they are able to make a really cool macro. That's gonna do it for this one. I will see you guys in the next video. Happy animating. See ya.